Hello everyone, this is Grandmaster Damian Lemos here for iChess. Welcome to this new video where we'll be talking about the accelerated dragon for black. And this is not just the normal dragon we have in the Sicilian defense. This is like an improved, faster version. So let's take a look at both variations, the main dragon and the accelerated dragon. The main dragon happens after e4, c5, knight f3. Here black plays with d6, white plays the open Sicilian with d4, pawn takes, knight takes d4, knight to f6, white plays knight to c3, and here, black, he has a6, that would be the Najdorf Sicilian, e6 would be the Scheveningen Sicilian, knight c6 is the richer Rouser attack, and g6 is the well-known Sicilian dragon. So this is one of the sharpest Sicilians black can play against e4. However, a lot of players as black, they like playing the other version of the dragon, the accelerated dragon, which is playing g6 in this position. We can also enter this accelerated dragon playing knight c6. The idea is to meet d4 with pawn takes, and after knight takes d4 we play this move. And why we call this accelerated dragon? We call it that way because we still have the pawn on d7 and we haven't played d6 yet. The key is, in a lot of positions, black, he wants to play d5 in one step. So this is probably an advantage for us. Of course, we'll play d5 depending on what our opponent plays, but this is a good resource to have in mind. And I think the best move order, if you want to play the accelerated dragon, is to play g6 in this position. As I said, you can also start with knight c6, but if you play knight c6, apart from d4, which is the main move, white, he can also consider the Lemo with bishop b5. And yeah, in this case we need to study this variation as well. If we play g6, then there's no point for white to play bishop b5 because we don't have the knight on c6, and that means after a6, white is simply losing a move. He's losing a tempo. He has to move the bishop back to e2 or c4, and yeah, we can continue advancing, by the way, and we have a great position as black. So that is the main difference between this move order or g6. With that said, if white plays d4, we take, and here we have two main possibilities for white. Almost everybody plays knight takes d4, but we have to know queen takes d4 is also possible. Attacking the rook, here we have knight f6, and if he plays e5 we have knight c6, and we enter a complex middle game. Our knight eventually lands on d5. This reminds me of an Alekhine defense, and we also have some fight, some pressure against his center. So yeah, queen takes d4 is probably a subline compared to knight takes d4. And in this position I like both bishop g7 or knight c6. And as you can see, we reach that position, the main position of the accelerated dragon. In this move order, if we play knight c6, as I said, bishop b5 is an option, but let's say he plays d4, the main move, we take, knight takes, we play g6, and again we have this position, the initial position of our repertoire as black. And this is that position where white has a huge choice from the theory point of view. And he actually can choose between a positional line or an aggressive line. And it is about the pawn structure. It is not about huge amount of theory. White, he has to decide how he wants to place his pieces in the center. So one of the main moves is knight c3. This is what most of your opponents are going to play, knight c3. And the other move, which is a serious option, is c4. And as you can see, when white plays c4, he's playing the well-known Maroczy bind. And the thing with the Maroczy is, when he has e4 and c4 in white, he definitely has a stronger center, and it's, well, I don't want to say impossible, but for the time being, we cannot play d5, which is more or less our freeing move. So after c4, we can play bishop g7, white usually plays bishop b3, and here, well, we have a lot of possibilities. We can play with knight f6, we can play with d6, but the main line goes knight c3 here. For instance, we have a crazy line where we play knight g4. It looks like we are losing the knight, but we also have potential as we are attacking the knight on d4. As you can see, if queen takes, we have knight takes d4. And we have some action in the center. We also have knight c2 check, and that means white has to play queen d1. We have knight e6, knight c6. This is a possibility. Also here after knight g4, well, if he takes the knight, we take on d4, and if he takes on c6, we can play this nice looking move, knight takes e3, in between move, and after all the trades, we play an endgame with the bishop pair, which is very good for black.
Buying individual chess courses to add to your collection can get expensive, and waiting for the course or video you're looking for to go on sale can take weeks or even months. So, what's a chess enthusiast to do? Introducing the iChess Club, an exclusive community of chess enthusiasts that enjoy a wild range of benefits, including a permanent 40% discount on virtually all chess courses on our shop. Yes, 40% on all items anytime. But wait, there's more. For those of you who like physical DVDs, we offer unlimited free shipping on all items, anywhere in the world, anytime. You'll also get access to the entire iChess.club library, where we post over a dozen exclusive new videos every month. Our lineup of presenters is of much higher quality than anything you can find on YouTube, with exclusive videos by Simon Williams, Damian Lemos, Valerie Lilov, Brian Smith, Eric Rosen you can't find anywhere else, and even private appearances by world's top grandmasters such as Anatoly Karpov, Judith Polgar, Susan Polgar, and more. There are dozens of other benefits as well, such as an additional 5% off all items already on sale, a free 30-minute preview of every single product in our shop, and the ability to purchase items at the sale price up to 30 days after the sale has ended. There are so many benefits we can't possibly list them all in this video. So, join the iChess Club community today and start saving. Joining is easy and you can cancel at any time. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up today.
Actually here I can also consider destroying his entire pawn structure with bishop takes c3, pawn takes, king takes d8, and this endgame, I can tell this is risk-free for black, no weaknesses, and we do have a better pawn structure. So, I mean, this is just one line, but knight g4 is not the main move. Here we can just castle. We can also play with d6. This is what most players play as black, d6, or they also take on d4 and they play with bishop d7 and bishop c6. You probably saw this position before, placing the bishop on c6, playing a5 as black, and then once the pawn is on a5, play knight d7 and knight c5. This is a well-known position for the Maroczy bind. I've made a course, an entire course about the accelerated dragon, and I recommend a special plan against the Maroczy, where black gets a lot of counterplay. I mean, we have a lot of possibilities, but it is important to know this c4, the Maroczy bind, is that positional line against the accelerated dragon, and the game is usually a long game with a lot of maneuvers. When white plays knight c3, he tries playing the Sicilian in its purest form, and I think this is what we are looking for as black. I mean, if I have to choose, I prefer playing against knight c3. c4, it is fair to say white has some advantage because he has a stable center. It requires precise play, but it is tough for us to create counterplay right from the get-go. Against knight c3, we can play moves like bishop g7. Well, of course, we develop the bishop. We attack the knight on d4, and usually he plays bishop e3. Well, if he plays something else, knight b3, if he takes on c6, for instance, this is usually not good for white. In Sicilian, we take with the b pawn, we bring a side pawn to the center, we open the b file. Once we have the pawn on c6, we are more likely to play d5 at some point, and suddenly we have a stronger center than white. So bishop e3 is like the only serious move white has in this position. So here is where we can try applying those ideas of playing a quick d5. And as I said in the intro, that is the main difference between playing the standard dragon and playing the accelerated dragon. If we played a normal dragon, we would already have the pawn on d6. But since we are playing the accelerated dragon, we can try playing d5 faster in one step. So I just want to share a game I found. We have a different move order, so we'll see it from the beginning, and where we can, in this game, we can appreciate the plans of the accelerated dragon by black. So yeah, the game goes e4, c5, white plays knight to f3, black played knight c6, and as I said, if you want to play the accelerated dragon, this is perhaps not the best move order because you also have to study the Lemos with bishop b5, but yeah, most of your opponents are going to play d4. In this game, white, he doesn't play d4 yet. He plays with knight c3, so he's kind of waiting to see our cards. But okay, we play g6, and white, if he wants to play d4, it's now or never. If he doesn't play d4 now, then I just play bishop g7, have the d4 square under control, and, well, he can of course play something else. He can try playing a closed Sicilian, but it is well known that black has very good chances there. If he wants to fight for the advantage, he has to play the open Sicilian with d4. It is worth pointing out that once he plays knight c3 in the opening, he can no longer play the Maroczy bind with c4. So here we are actually playing the accelerated dragon we want. Okay, d4, g6, d4 takes, knight takes d4. Here black plays bishop to g7 and bishop to e3. This is that position we were looking at a couple of minutes ago. and black plays knight to f6. First, suppose you don't know theory, this is like the first difficult move to make, because we don't have the e5 square under control. Usually, if you are a Sicilian player, you're used to playing d6 first, just in case you control the e5 square and then you play knight f6. But here we can just play knight f6 right away, because we don't have to be concerned about moves like knight takes c6. Here we take with the side pawn, we bring a side pawn to the center. If we take with the d pawn, we are not losing, but he can take. We are playing a queen-less position where he castles queenside with check, and yeah, he can play bishop c4. Our king is not comfortable, he has more development, so usually when he takes, we take with the side pawn, and if he plays e5, then, well, we have two options here. We can go for the sacrifice with knight d5. That is something you have to be ready to do when you play the dragon. You have to go for the initiative, even if you have to sacrifice some pawns. This is very interesting for black. I have rook b8. I can possibly play, yeah, bishop b7. If he castles queenside, then I'll have some attack against his king. So this is interesting, but the truth is, in this line, once he takes and we play this way, e5 is not really dangerous, because the simple knight g8 is very good for us. The pawn on e5 is a target. We can play rook b8. We can actually put extra pressure on the pawn on e5 with queen c7, queen a5. The knight, I can play knight h6 and knight f5, or worst case scenario, a move like f6, and he has to do something about his pawn on e5, and that means my knight will probably end up on f6. So the main line after this knight f6, white usually plays bishop c4. This is by far the main line, and the idea is to stop the free move d5. But in this game, white, he didn't play precise moves. He was playing as, as if he was playing against a normal dragon. But as I said, playing the accelerated dragon gives us advantages. He plays f3, and this would be okay if we had the pawn on d6. However, we still have the pawn on d7, and ruptures like this in one step are still possible. So f3 here, before starting any action in the center, we castle. Before doing anything, we put our king into safety, and then we can consider some ideas in the center, and once again white plays queen d2. As I said, if we had the pawn on d6, then, well, imagine we play d6 here, he can play bishop c4, he can play g4, and then we have opposition from the main dragon, but here queen d2 is too passive. He should have played bishop c4, stopping d5, and, well, then the game continues. We can play something like e6, we can try playing something like this, very aggressive, or even, this looks crazy, but since we have a better development and since his king is still on e1, a move like d5 is possible. Imagine he takes, then I can play something like knight b4, and it's not easy for white to get his pawn back. What I was trying to say, we are the one trying to get the pawn back, but I was just saying it is not easy for white to protect his pawn. Maybe he has to play knight b3, And here we have a wonderful compensation as black already. He still has the king on e1, and okay, maybe he can try forcing a repetition with knight e4, knight b3. Yeah, bishop f5, this would be a draw by repetition, but maybe b5, as our friend Stockfish is recommending. We keep on sacrificing pawns, but in return we have a crushing attack. And yeah, it is saying black has a slight advantage, and we are down 2 pawns. So imagine how huge our advantage is. If that computer is saying so, and black is down 2 pawns, that means we are probably winning. And I mean, we can consider all this because his king is still there. Otherwise, this is probably dubious. But okay, a lot of lines. White, this f3 move he played can be considered as dubious against the accelerated dragon, but this is what most of your opponents are going to play, so that makes the accelerated dragon an attractive option. So queen d2, as I was saying, this is a slow approach against this defense, this dragon by black, and here we just play d5. The free move in Sicilian in just 1 step. This couldn't be better. White takes, knight takes d5. Now if he takes on d5, we have queen takes, and we have such a powerful position. We attack the knight on d4. If he castles queenside, then the pawn on a2 is hanging. If he takes on c6, I don't really want to trade queens off because I have a better development. And, well, if he castles, here we see the maximum potential of the dragon, the c-file, those bishops hitting his queenside, and yeah, I would bet white is almost losing at this point. I mean, with precise play, black has to be winning. Maybe if king b1, rook a c8, I keep on bringing my pieces, and white's position is just too slow. Imagine he plays bishop d3, now I can play queen a4, and the attack continues. I mean b3, I guess. I'm just trying to play the moves out. I mean the moves that can easily happen in a game. Queen c1, I'll never trade queens off, we know that. Here I try playing queen c3, and if queen d2, yeah, bishop c3, this has to be crushing. Or even queen e5. Once you get these positions in the dragon, the moves, they just flow. I mean, it's all about getting an attack, and here we are attacking first. Usually white, at this point, he should have the pawn here, the other pawn on h5, and then it is a game. I mean, it is a game where we have some complications, but in this position, white, he's just being too slow. And that is because we played d5 in 1 step. So, yeah, the game was e takes d5, knight takes. Now, instead of knight takes d5, white took on c6, pawn takes c6, bishop d4, and here, well, bishop takes d4 was played, but I think e5 is even stronger. We build up a strong center, and after bishop c5, in the game, black played rook e8, but a move like rook b8, and this is something that happens a lot in the dragon, I think this move is even stronger. As you can probably realize that bishop c5 is valuable for white because it is defending dark squares. And if he takes a rook on f8, I mean, even queen takes. Now, he cannot castle queenside because we have bishop h6. We are still having ideas on the b file. The queen f8 is actually playing on both sides off the board, and even a move like e4 is on the table, opening bishop's g7 diagonal. So yeah, from a practical point of view, I think white, he's already losing. He has to protect the pawn on b2, and this move, as we said, loses to bishop h6. Well, a move like b3, I can just take, and then I play e4. This is devastating for white. Well, rook b1, I mean, I'm trying to believe this works, but it is, I mean, I'm having a hard time though. I mean, bishop h6, my pieces are all over the place, bishop f5, the d file, so yeah, this is basically game over. Even if we make a mistake here as black, I think we have enough compensation to keep playing. So this is just to show you all the ideas we have in the accelerated dragon, and if your opponent is not prepared, then I think he can lose in less than 20 moves. That is why I like the dragon so much. If he plays it right, I mean, then we have a fight, we have a solid foundation, we have ideas on the queen side. I mean, we are playing a legit defense as black, but if he plays it wrong, then you can win pretty fast. And that makes this option very attractive for your repertoire. So that's all for this video. You have an article below on the link in this video. Check it out, and I hope you found this video useful. I hope you could learn something, and of course I want to see you guys in my next chapters. Thank you.